and now we are going to move on to our next hero, Sara the Seer. She is fulfilling the controller role here, and she has some pretty interesting abilities as well. So let's kind of look into these. So Sara, starting here with the Collapsing Trance, range 8, 1 enemy, 10 damage on hit. The effect being allies in 2 of you cannot be targets of attacks. They can be targets of effects as usual. Place this effect on you. Um, so in PvP, this one can be very powerful. I think you guys probably agree with that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, you know, with this range being a ranged ability. But I mean, you do have to be in like the right spot for it, but still, like, basically preventing targets of attacks is very, very powerful.
Being a controller, you're already going to be playing like a mid-range game to begin with.
Yep.
So positioning won't be too terribly hard, but that's got a lot of potential for screwing people up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can get you, you know, especially if you have most of your team around you already.
Yeah. Because pretty expected that you probably be pretty close at least anyway, but I can see some pretty interesting things that you can do with this where I mean it's often times that you don't have range on everybody anyway, so just even being able to protect some of your team like this will be very good.
And it's different than a lot of other things too because they can't be targeted.
Yep.
And sometimes it's like they just can't take damage.
Yep.
But if you can't even target somebody, that means that you can't pull them into lava. You can't pull them out of this effect.
Yeah, I mean
You have to use some kind of effect to get them out.
I mean, you can't even do, you know, sometimes there's workarounds too where it's like, oh, well, they can't be, you know, the direct person, right? But you could do like Arcane Blast, right? Which hits like an area. But that still would count as being, you know, a target of an attack in that case. So that's still, yeah, not good. One thing I wanted to add here too is if you look at the Collapsing Trance card, there's also a little bit different wording where it includes except during a dark surge. So the reason why this was added was basically when they came up with his ability, it you know had this effect, but then you know pretty quickly started realizing, wait a second, you could essentially like block a door, right, and make it so that way like villain AI could get broken. By you using this ability. So they added this basically to being like, okay, well you can't hit anyone else. Okay, then it's going to dark surge. So then that person can become a target. So to kind of prevent that situation from happening. But anyway, that's for PvE. Keep in mind there. All right, next primary here, Ominous Oh man, this one, Divination. Range 8, 1 enemy, 11 damage on hit. If an ally or enemy dies in 2 of you, heal 7 a hero in 8 of you. Or range 8, right? So pretty much the normal range there. So, you know, you have an option here to get a little bit of healing. This one is, you know, much, I guess, more specific, right? Because you're going to, I think you're getting a lot more use in this PvE than you probably get for PvP.
Yeah, and it's extremely situational.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like in the PvP sense, like that's really situational, and the odds of that, you know, you have to actually hit the ability to gain the effect, and then the ally or enemy has to die.
Yeah.
Within 2.
Within 2. So that's a lot of setup, but you know.
Yeah, and it's a heal 7. So
yeah, I almost feel like if it were once per turn, it would be stronger. But then in PvE, it would be maybe a little broken because you go through so many enemies.
Well, I mean, it is actually. It ends at the start of Sarah's next turn. So, really, it's
Oh, so it just is
yeah,
in general then.
you could if that situation happened. I mean, you could theoretically get this, I guess, multiple times because it doesn't seem it's not limiting that.
I think it's a great PvE card.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because
Now, you know, it is a heal for a controller, which there's not too many controllers that get heals. I'm trying to
I was gonna
remember
say
Gazzini.
Zafara.
Didn't Gazzini get one? Yeah,
Zafara has
Blood
Hungry
Drain.
Spirits, which is 2 attacks, 6 damage each, so a potential of 12 damage, healing for 4.
Yep. Yeah, Hungry
And
Spirits up there top right.
I think that's the only one.
Well, Gazzini also has a heal. Blood Drain.
Oh yeah, he
And
heals
heal
himself.
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one's a lot
Yeah,
easier to get off.
I think the Ominous Divination is definitely a PvE like superstar and a PvP extremely situation.
For some reason, I thought somebody else. Oh, I see. I'm thinking of Yemi's special. But yeah, if we're just looking at primary attacks, this is. I guess she'd be the only other controller that could get a heal. It's just much more difficult to get.
Mm.
All right, so let's go to the next ability here, or special attack, Visions of Death, range 8, 1 enemy, 12 damage on hit. The effect first being a permanent of allies and enemies hit in 2 of you take +5 damage. And the second permanent is at the end of all of your turns, allies and enemies that are not in 2 of you and still within range, normal range 8, take 5 damage. So this one is really kind of crazy because, unless you're completely outside of Sarah's range and vision, it's very likely your team and enemies are going to take 5 damage when they get hit now.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's it's like another loose cannon ability. I mean, you have to keep your team pretty much close to her or out of range.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is different. This is interesting. Because again, there's no qualifiers on this. So allies, enemies hit within 2 take +5 damage. So if you have a double attack, it doesn't say once per turn.
Nope.
So, I mean, she is just going to be this catalyst in the middle of everything as things are exploding around her.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's almost like she becomes like a bomb or something. Like if you could just seriously, like if you could just like move her into like the enemy team so that way they're like close but they're not too close, right? And then make sure, your team is getting away, then she'll just be blasting everyone around her for 5 damage. And if your team attacks, other people that do move close to her, then you'll get some more damage on them. So it's just like, yeah, put this bomb lady on your enemies and stay away. So anyway, and I guess really what's even crazier is just that these are permanent. It's not even like maybe for once, once around, or even if they came up with something crazy of like, having I don't know, a couple rounds or something. I don't know, but interesting.
And it's, I think, one of the first specials that gives dual permanence.
Yeah, yep. That's true. There's not. I don't know if there is any other specials that have 2 permanents on them.
Not that come to mind.
No. If it is, it's extremely rare. All right, so let's jump to the last special here. Dream, range 8, 1 enemy, 18 damage on hit. Effect 1, you cannot be targeted by attacks and effects from enemies. Other combatants can move through you, but cannot end it in the square you occupy. So basically, they can't, stay on top of you, of course. And then the second effect is a temporary of enemies, and 2 of you are vulnerable 3. Once per turn, place this effect on you. So yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, man, with it, even just these in combination,
Mm-hmm. You
you
just
become like the
ramp up the
untouchable
damage and then
bomb.
disappear.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm the reason that all of you are dying so fast, and then you're not going to see me for a whole turn.
yeah.
It's an invisible bomb. She's a landmine.
Basically, yeah,
That's
and
crazy. And again, ramping up the damage even more with that vulnerable 3
right.
once per turn.
I mean, so basically, if you can get this, or get Visions of Death up first, then do Dream at, some point, any of those enemies that are in there will take 8 damage on hit if they're within the 2. And they can't
Oh,
attack Sarah.
yeah, if you can pull that off, they would just, especially in PvP, you'll so quickly take the enemy team down.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of extra damage going out.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that especially Visions of Death is just so powerful. I can see this one being a focus of teams that want to remove permanents,
Mm-hmm.
or teams that want to, get it onto their side. Whatever they can do to get that ability, because that's a very good ability.
Yeah, it paints a huge target on her
Oh
for
yeah,
PvP.
that's true. Um, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, let's jump to her hero card here. So Sarah also, like other special characters, fulfilling that controller role. Normal trigger for controller, and the effect is 2 heroes flip an attack each. So that,
Wow.
yeah, so that's it's decent,
That's
pretty good.
not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. So flipping cards in Tanares is good because it can be a way for you to get, for one thing, using your extra like armor or your weapons, right, and getting those active abilities back quicker, and it can also allow you to cycle to get your more powerful abilities quicker, right? So that's an advantage. And then additionally, there's also some heroes and strategies you can build where you can get. I think there's some skills, right, that are related to like flipping,
Yes.
and so you can kind of team that up with this hero card as well.
Plus, for those of you who haven't played Tanaris yet, like these attacks, the primary attacks that everybody has, that's like the worst attack that you'll have. Your hero only ramps up in power. So
Yeah,
yeah, at one point you're like, I got this, level 3 attack that's gonna just crush it, but I can only use it every, 4 turns. And so
yeah.
if you can start flipping those attacks and being able to use that level 3 faster, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, like for example, the controller class has an ability called was that Gloomy Haven,
Yeah.
or no, Gloomy Heaven. That's what it is, right? Um,
Hmm.
and it's an ability that I don't think it does any crazy amount of damage, but the effect is like a ally or yourself can gain back a special attack, which is
Yes.
very powerful as a primary ability. But it is a level 3, so you want to try to get that card back as quickly as you can so you can keep bringing specials back to your team.
We have used that mechanic a lot when we played.
Yep. Oh, yes. We love that one. All right, and then she has 6 for hands there, 3 for spycraft, 1 for lore. And so, like we said earlier, getting a 6 is always good for any of your characters. Basically, just reliable card in city and world phase. All right, so that is Sara the Seer. Let's move on to the last hero here. We have Solnertha, the Necromancer Lord. She is the last Kemet as well. And Solnertha is also a special, fulfilling the commander role, which is the newest class that was added with Tanares Adventures. So we will look here at Solnertha. So her primary attack, Bone Spear, range 8, one enemy, 10 damage on hit, plus the effect. The target takes plus 6 damage if it is inside of a terrain tile. So basically, this just means, yeah, you're on a terrain tile. You will do 6 additional damage on top of that 10. And then anything else you get from your undead companion, which we'll talk here in a second, and then the teamwork. I'm mixing modes here. So if you're in PvP, then you'll get the teamwork if your companion hits an enemy within 5 of you, and then for PvE, it'll be a little bit different. All right,
Zalir is going to be the best friend for this guy.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking before too. It was like, oh, we can start turning everything into whatever tile you want, and
it doesn't have to be a damaging terrain. It just has to be a terrain tile. So like,
yep,
ruin, swamp, obviously lava, spikes, all of those count.
Yeah. Just get some good spearing in. All right. Decaying Smoke, range 8, one enemy, 6 damage on hit, plus the effect Blast 6. So as we talked about earlier, Blast 6 is anybody that is adjacent to this target would, any enemy that's adjacent to this target would take 6 damage. And then a temporary effect that the target and all enemies that start their turn in one of it, the target there, are weakened 3 once per turn. Place this effect on the target. So basically just throwing down, that AoE weakened effect really is what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Blast 6. That could be pretty lethal.
Yeah.
Well, and the weakened, man, if you can get, 2 people weakened 3, like that's just a great ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both of these solid abilities.
Yeah. I mean, so I think one important thing to remember too with commanders is we've talked about this in the past on my channel, but if you haven't seen this before, that commanders are kind of interesting. They're a mix of usually healing, sometimes damage, but usually like healing or supportive effects or weak, kind of like disrupting type of conditions. And it changes depending on which commander you're playing. But they usually don't do quite as much damage because they're doing a lot of different things all at the same time. So it's a true like hybrid type class. In addition to that, they also have a pet that they will play with. Now we have miniatures over here, although these are not accurate, but or at least the Solnertha one's not accurate. In terms of the undead companion, you can use whichever undead miniature you want for it. But for his own special kind of like passive effect that the undead companion has for here is if there is another undead on the grid, deal +2 damage. So he'll get to do that whenever there's an undead on the grid. In PvE, that will, I'm telling you, there is a lot of undead in the Tanares campaign. So you're going to get that one a lot. For PvP, that will probably be less so really the case because the people that have undead companions are Sara has an undead companion. Cloette, I believe. So Sara has Gladius, who is undead. Cloette has the undead mummy. And there's one other one.
Does Necro count as dead?
Somebody else, yeah, somebody else asked that before, but no, technically, I don't think he counts as undead. Now, I'm sure if you guys are playing at home, you could probably come up with your own thing. But I think those two. I swear there was one more. I might be forgetting who it is right now. But anyway,
if Verant dies and uses regeneration to come back,
is he now undead? Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah.
Gazzini is undead. He's a vampire.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think honestly, I think the vampire ones are probably the best. Like
So Blake
argument.
and Gazzini.
Yeah. I mean, probably technically you really probably shouldn't make that like for I'd say like tournament rule, you probably only want to make it like Cloette and Skara, but I mean playing at home, I think Gazzini and Blake would probably make the most sense because they're both vampires.
It would just be hard because like if you pick Solara as your like person in order to activate the your minion, the undead companion, you have to pick one of two commanders.
Yeah.
So like two of your picks are already taken for you if you want to utilize that ability at all.
Yep.
And then I wouldn't pick Gladius for sure. I wouldn't pick Skara because Gladius's whole thing is that he gets pulled off the board and then you don't get that benefit.
Yeah.
So really, Colette is your kind of your only pick.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult to trigger.
And then the stats for the Undead Companion, I think is pretty close in line.
They're all very similar.
I think, don't they all have, I was trying to check here. Oh, this one has defense 6. Okay, so I guess
sometimes the
ones.
The movement also changes quite a bit too.
Yeah. I that's the one I thought changed the most usually was the movement, but this one has a 6 movement, so a little more movement there.
I think everybody has a 6 defense, 4 and 4. I think the movement is the only thing that changes on like the Pegasus.
Yeah. Let's see, Pegasus
has an 8.
6.
And then the
8.
Tiger has an 8. But everybody is 6, 4, and 4.
Yeah.
So I wonder why they made this 5.
Yeah, not really sure.
Especially because the Necromancer Lord is a 6 defense also. They should have the same defense.
That would definitely have made it probably easier to remember for this character. All right, well, let's move on to the next special there. Dark Staff, range 8, 1 enemy, 0 damage on hit, plus the effect the target takes damage equal to the difference in HP between you and it. Max of 30, and then heal 8 to an ally. So this one's kind of like Katarina's ability of Dark Ritual, except that one is like a full HP swap. So that one you heal, but you do damage to the enemy. But this one is just a straight damage. It's just dependent on how much HP difference you have. So maybe a good way for Solnertha to draw down somebody's health if she's getting pretty low.
Well, and it's also like because Katarina's Dark Ritual, it's hard to set up and maximize.
That's true.
Because you have to be within 22. You have to be able to heal up 22. You have to be able to damage them 22. With this one, it's just a straight up, what's the difference? So you could be at full health, and the other person could be at 35 hit points. And there's a 25 hit point difference between those two, so they take 25 damage, drop them down to 10.
Yeah.
And so it opens it up a lot more for, are you high health or are you low health? Either way, you can maximize this.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I wanted to clarify too, because I actually saw somebody already ask in the community about this, that this is, basically just absolute, right? So whether you're higher or lower, it should be a difference, right? Not that you would you would take damage because technically the number would be negative if you. Yeah, no. Is yeah, absolute there. So that's Dark Staff. Pretty interesting there. So basically, you're gonna get up to max 38 on this one. All right.
Huge hit.
Yeah. Oh, that's still very healthy one. And then then you have your pet too as well. All right, then Bone Armor, range 8, one enemy, 10 damage on hit, plus the effect of a permanent. Choose an ally. It is protected 3 once per turn and preserved 5. This effect ends if preserved is used. So basically, if you don't know what preserved is, that means that you put this on somebody, and if that character gets killed by some ability or effect or whatever, then they will automatically come back to life with 5 hit points. And in this case, this effect would then drop off. So this is basically making somebody more tanky with the protected 3, and then also basically just giving them that protection that they'll be able to come back even if they are killed.
I think this is the first one that uses preserved.
That's true. I don't know if we have used preserve on any other ability, partially because preserved it's just so powerful. It's a very, very powerful condition to be able to just bring somebody back to life like that. Because normally, right, as you guys know, there's only a certain number of characters that have resurrection abilities, right? So we got like Zafara, Talia. Let's see, who else? There's probably quite a few other ones here. Actually, maybe there's not as many as I think there is. I mean, there's a few other ones. Let's see, one of the new characters I thought had one. Yeah, Cycle of Life and Death. So the Redeemers both have revives. So, and then I think there's
Rancure.
Rancure. The Dragon Avenger has a resurrection. And then I think there's another commander. Yeah, Skara. She also has a resurrection. And I think that might be it. But
Varant, if you want to count his.
Well, yeah, where he resurrects himself.
One of a kind, baby.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Anyway, so definitely, I think that is the only character that has a preserve. So it'll be interesting to see how this could be used with other characters. Now, generally, you don't really want to die because you'll usually lose specials. If you get resurrected by a special attack, but yeah, this one will at least be able to bring you back without using a special or a heroic action, which is probably the most common method I think many people use to bring somebody back. Anything you guys got on this one?
Put this on very early in the game, so characters protected 3, and
yeah, at least just for the protected is very good.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it on Rurik.
Yep. Well, yeah, you put it on Rurik, who already has Epic Shield.
Epic Shield.
Now, if he, well, he actually, this is probably a case of, Rurik uses Epic Shield, then maybe as he's either getting low or he dies and you could bring him back, then you could put Bone Shield on him. And then essentially you'd have Epic Shield again, then come back again. Anyway, There's, I'm sure, a lot of combinations that you could kind of come up with this one. So that's Solnertha's main abilities. Let's look at her hero card. So she has the normal commander trigger. So companions hits an enemy on 5e first hit of primary action, and then the effect: place the undead companion in any square within range 4 of you. So basically, this is a way to get your companion into the fight, pretty much wherever you want, which is still pretty decent. I mean, being able to kind of move them where you need them to be, because it's not even a movement, right? This isn't even a movement type of effect. This is just a placement. So there would be, not many issues with having to get through like a lava tile or something like that, right?
Right.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, maybe not the best one, but it's I think actually the mummy character has a very similar. Looks like you already started going through the pile here.
I was curious.
You can search it. It does have the ability to search. So Chloe,
well, yeah, but
she has a heal, and then it swap places with the mummy. So it's a little different, not quite the same. All right, and then one more surprise here for you guys, and that's not officially the surprise, but I'll just tell you anyway. So Talesa here, the Dragon Queen, her hero pad still the same, nothing's changed there. But during Tanares Ultimate, we did add her as a special, fulfilling a healer role for the Tanares Ultimate campaign. So now you can use Talesa in the campaign. Now I will say, she's technically not available right from the start. There is a way that you can get her, but you'll have to find out from playing the game. But yeah, so Talesa will be added here as a playable hero in the campaign, which was not the case previous to this. All right, so she got the healer trigger there in outline 3 of you, or is in 3 of you, first hit of your turn. And the effect is pay 4 HP, a hero gains 2 cubes. So another good hero here if you want to get those yummy mana cubes in the campaign.
And you want yummy mana cubes.
You want as many cubes as you can get.
Those delicious, delicious cubes.
Best part about her, though, is that 5/5/5 stat block at the bottom.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of 5. Yeah. So that very good stats there. So really can kind of just throw her into whatever you need, and you're going to be able to unlock some, something extra just with her hero card alone. Or
hey, my brother's
somebody else. But
my brother's calling. I'm going to take this. I'm so sorry.
All right, that's fine. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today. Now I'm, going to be splitting these all up, probably to more individually consume this, but hope you guys enjoyed this preview of the characters and the discussion on how these new characters can enhance your game for Tanares Ultimate Campaign, or for the for Arena PvP. So we're excited to see these characters in action. And anyway, that is it for today. We'll see you at the next one.